This is one of Mind Game's most popular fragrances in their lineup, but is it actually any good? Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to Fragrance Hunter. Today we are reviewing one of the most popular from the house of Mind Games, which is Queening. And to be honest, I'm a huge fan of this house. Finally got the opportunity to try this one, test it, experience, etc. And I'm finally reviewing it for you guys today because it's getting so much hype that I see so many people talking about it, raving about it, glazing it. Was it actually a letdown? I guess we'll find out later on in this review. Now, I was actually pretty interested in Queening just because lately I've been a huge fan of vanilla fragrances, and this is basically Mind Game's take on a vanilla. So I guess we're gonna have to see what they come up with, right? So I do wanna shout out So Avant-Garde for sending Queening over for review. They are the distributor for Mind Games, so if you wanna check them out or anything on the website, you can use code Hunter10 to save 10% off of Mind Games or any other brand on the website. So let's run down some information. Now, Queening was launched in 2023. This one actually came out a little bit after the initial 10 releases from Mind Games, and it is part of the Soulmate collection. For the retail price, only size this one comes in, which is the 100 ml, is gonna set you back $395, which is definitely pretty expensive, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, this is a niche brand, so they can pretty much charge whatever they want. And this brand absolutely does have some like luxurious exclusivity about it. You can't really even get these that much on discounters, at least heavily discounted. So if you want to save some money, you can of course use code Hunter10 on So Avant-Garde to bring that down. I also have 4 fragrances that are even more expensive than Queening, such as Queenside, Kingside, Mentor, and Prodigy, I believe, which are almost $500. So also don't get this mixed up with Queenside, guys. They are 2 completely different fragrances. The concentration is of course going to be an extrait de parfum, so you're probably getting around 30% perfume oils in here, which is very, very high. And you kind of expect that, at least for the price tag. And for the perfumer that is Christelle the Prod, who's made so many fragrances for Mind Games and for so many other brands, so she knows exactly what she's doing. So with all the information out of the way, let's go to look at the packaging and presentation you get with Queening now. All right, take a look at this box, which I do always love the presentation with Mind Games. Of course, Queening, you got that crown right there. Orris and vanilla, which is like the 2 main notes you're gonna find in here. Extrait de parfum 100 ml. On the bottom, you got your barcode and batch code to authenticate a product and see when it was actually produced. And then on the back, you got some kind of quote, some ingredients, etc. And then the Mind Games logo up top. And this does open up like so, where your bottle is housed. And you have a nice little pamphlet, as you can see right there. So all in all, beautiful box presentation. Let's look at the bottle now. All right, take a look at this bottle, which I've always been a huge fan of these chest piece bottles, guys. It's such a unique concept. Of course, you got this kind of platinum looking plaque on the front. Queening Mind Games with those 2 ingredients. On the bottom, you got your stick with your batch code, which you can't really see on the camera probably. On the back, nothing, but this bottle is see-through, so you can't see your juice level. You have this kind of wooden kind of plaque going around the top. Mind Games embossed around the front of that atomizer. Nothing inside of the cap, nothing on the atomizer, but this magnet is very, very strong, guys. One of the strongest magnet caps I've ever tried, as you see right there. I can pick it up with confidence. In the top, you got that cotton flower, apple, and cypress. In the mid, you got orris root, rum, and saffron. In the base, you got the vanilla, coconut, and musk. And this can be classified as a creamy sweet. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Beautiful distribution on the atomizer, as always with Mind Games. I don't know about you guys, but that note breakdown actually does seem very unique. So let's go ahead and remind myself of Queening, and of course, I'll let you guys do the first sniff. So immediately when you apply Queening, you are gonna get greeted with this very fresh, clean cotton flower that comes across so fluffy, very, very clean opening that is very unique and different and not what I was kind of expecting at all. Mixed together with this very, very sweet apple note that's so watery, guys. And honestly, with apple, you can either go completely wrong or completely right with. And unfortunately in here, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of cotton flower apple combination going on. And to me, it kind of comes across like apple soap or like a body wash I'm using in the shower that's apple scented. Just not really the most expensive, luxurious opening with Queening, which is definitely a letdown for me, guys, because I'm a huge fan of this house and pretty much own over 10 bottles, and most of them are bangers. And I had really, really high expectations with Queening just because of all the hype going on. Everybody talking about this. One of the most popular Mind Games, probably the second most most popular, behind like Blockade, which Blockade is definitely a banger. Just that opening, guys, I cannot get behind. And when I first applied this one, I was kind of like, ooh, what's going on with this? But hey, if you love apple fragrances, you love those kind of soapy, kind of scented apple hand washes, you can definitely check this one out, because this gives off a clean, fluffy, fresh, apple watery vibe. And unfortunately, I'm not getting any of that cypress, which I thought the cypress might have saved the opening being like green, woody, earthy, but no, guys, no cypress detected to my nose. Cotton flower and apple primarily. But it's not all bad news, guys, because if you can get past the opening, this fragrance is not all bad. Believe me, the opening is by far the worst part of the DNA compared to the mid and dry down. So this is the kind of fragrance you have to like let warm up and kind of get used to you. It's kind of like the term, don't judge a book by its cover. It's basically like, don't judge a fragrance on its first sniff. Because in the mid, it starts to turn far more luxurious, guys. You're gonna get a very elegant orris root in the mid of this one. Almost kind of waxy, powdery orris going on that is a little bit earthy in and of itself, because orris root is like the root from iris. So it's still gonna give off the waxy, kind of powdery nuances, just a little bit earthier, which I think absolutely saved the DNA with the orris root. And thank goodness the cotton flower and apple in the opening do not last that long, like at all. I mean, those two main notes in the opening maybe last an hour tops. So after that hour kind of goes by, you're gonna start getting greeted to that very sophisticated orris root. And the orris is not all, guys, because you're also gonna get this sweet, boozy rum. It's more so of like a sweet rum rather than being like a very boozy rum, but still, you're gonna get a nice rum, kind of like take the orris root and dip it in rum. That's what you're getting in the mid of this one, and it's excellent. I'm a huge fan of both iris, orris, and rum, so I'm a big fan of the mid. Now the saffron is listed. I'm not really getting any spicy nuances into this one at all. It's not a spicy fragrance. It might be there in the background, but the rum and orris take over. Now in the base of queening is absolutely the star of the show, because you're gonna get the vanilla. Now the vanilla in here is very sweet, creamy vanilla, guys, like a whipped cream vanilla vibe in the base. Extremely milky, lactonic, and I gotta give it to Mind Games for the vanilla in here, guys, because the vanilla is very distinctive, very different, very unique, and just stands out compared to most vanillas I've ever tried. Just because of how creamy, it's gotta be the creamiest vanilla in my entire collection, guys. It's not a spicy, very natural smelling vanilla, if you know what I mean. Just ultra sweet, creamy vanilla. And I think on their note breakdown, they listed it as like whipped vanilla or something along the lines of that, and it definitely gives off that vibe. Now, along with the sweetness, you are also gonna get this very tropical coconut that's so milky, very lactonic, and just works perfectly along with the vanilla. Now the dry down somewhat reminds me of like Fragrance du Bois Santal Complete, which is another very vanilla coconut heavy fragrance. So if you know anything about that fragrance, you love that fragrance, you're gonna enjoy this. It's not identical like at all, just a similar tone mixed together with those two notes. And that's without a doubt one of the most expensive vanillas on the market, in my opinion as well. Very elegant stuff, which is a huge compliment to queening. And of course, with the vanilla and coconut, you're gonna be left with a very clean, white, fluffy musk. So not a fan of the opening of queening like at all. It's a pretty bad opening, but after about an hour, the mid and dry down completely save the DNA. But just because I'm not a fan of the opening, you guys might love cotton flower and apple and the vibe it gives off. Because at the end of the day, fragrance is subjective. Whatever you guys like, I might hate, and vice versa. But believe me, that earthy, powdery orris, sweet, boozy rum, the sweet kind of creamy vanilla and tropical coconut make for an excellent DNA. Definitely not my favorite Mind Games. There's so much better ones from the house, but man, if they would have made more cypress in the opening, tone down on that kind of synthetic apple note going on, this would have been like A-tier Mind Games, guys. So for the best seasons to rock queening, I'm primarily gonna wear this one in the spring, fall, and winter. Not so much the summertime, just because that opening freshness does not last long at all until it turns much darker, much sweeter, and probably cloying, especially in the high heat. But spring evenings, perfect, and of course fall and winter, just like most boozy vanilla fragrances are targeted for. And even though it has that tropical coconut, guys, the way it's mixed together with the base, it just does not suit a more warmer climate. But still absolutely a vanilla that can be pulled off in the springtime, which most of the time isn't really the case. And for occasion, I think this is gonna be a little bit more on the formal side of things. Anytime I wanna smell a little bit more upscale, a little bit more elegant, at least if I spray an hour or two before going to the event, if you know what I mean. Because the opening does not give off formal, elegant vibes at all, which is crazy how the vibe completely changes, because the opening gives off very casual vibes, but after an hour, it turns very elegant and formal. The type of stuff you wear to like maybe going to like an upscale office, maybe going on a date, going to a wedding, or just any event you want to make a statement and dress up for. This is going to be a good kind of companion for you, especially for the ladies. If you're wearing a nice dress and heels, whoo, man, this is going to be beautiful on you. Which leads me into gender. So I'm going to categorize queening as unisex, leaning on the feminine side of things. This is a feminine leaning fragrance at the end of the day. I know so many guys talk about this one and wearing it, etc. But man, this one definitely is on that feminine side. Like, I would probably rather smell this on my lady than on myself. And heck, maybe the cotton flower apple vibes would smell beautiful on her rather than me. Because the way the combination in the opening gives off, it's very feminine. The way the dry down with the tropical coconut and that sweet creamy vanilla that's not even spicy is also a really feminine vanilla. But still, guys can wear this one. It's not an absolute feminine fragrance. It's unisex and leaning feminine, so both guys and women can wear it. But man, if you're a lady watching this one, you want a good, beautiful, elegant vanilla that's sweet and creamy, check out queening. And just like that name says, queening, so this is gonna be for the queens out there. For the kings out there, check out something like French Defense, Kingside, or Blockade. And for age groups, this is both leaning youthful and mature. The opening gives off very playful, fruity, youthful vibes without a doubt, but of course it's very expensive. So I don't see any like late teenagers, early 20-year-olds really going out and spending like 450 bucks on a bottle of this. But if you're like a young entrepreneur or your parents got money, you want something like this, go for it, because it could be pulled off as somebody younger, but definitely somebody a little bit more mature, probably like 25, 30, 40s and up, just because of how elegant and sophisticated this one dries down to, especially women. So if you're like a boss lady or something like that, this is gonna be a great fragrance for you. So wrapping the review off, talking on the performance you should expect to get from queening. Now, I have tested this a couple of times, worn it, etc. Now, for longevity, I did get around that 10-hour mark. And to be honest with you guys, I was honestly hoping this one to perform a little bit longer, upwards to 12, especially while being in extrait de parfum. So I usually have very high expectations and high standards for a concentration like this. So for being in vanilla, I was a little bit let down. And I'm telling you, when I say 10 hours, that's like the max you're gonna get from this if you have very moisturized, kind of clean skin. So this is gonna be a fragrance you're gonna wanna spray on clothes to get the best performance from it, because it might last about a day, possibly 2 days on clothes, but on skin, around 10 hours. Still, I know 10 hours is no joke. It's no slouch. We're kind of spoiled with very beast strong fragrances. But come on, for the price, being an extrait de parfum and a vanilla heavy fragrance, at least expected 12 hours. And I'm being generous when I say 10 hours, guys. And for the projection, I got about soft to moderate projection. There's something very soft, fluffy, cloud-like about the way this pushes off the skin. It's not piercing, it's not sharp, and it's definitely not beast. Which means this is probably gonna be more so for like intimate situations when you want whoever you're with to come closer to you, to smell you. Because believe me, this one smells beautiful, very delicious from the vanilla, etc. So maybe that's kind of what they were going for. It's not gonna be a room filling fragrance by any means, so do not go into it thinking that, because believe me, you will be let down. So soft to moderate projection with queening. And I'm just being honest, like I always am in these reviews, guys, but there is always a time and a place for an intimate projecting fragrance. Because for instance, picture in your head, you're out on a date with a lady or a guy, whoever's watching this. You don't really want to overdo it with your fragrance, kind of make him or her look at you a little bit weird and like filling up the entire restaurant. And of course, if you're on a date, you kind of want your date to come in a little bit closer and be intimate with you. So this is going to do that. So max 10 hours of longevity and about soft to moderate projection you're gonna get with queening. Now, that's gonna do it for my review of one of the most popular mind games, queening, guys. Let me know down below if you've tried this one. Does it live up to the hype for you? What are your thoughts on it? And what is your favorite mind games that you guys have tried so far? Leave a comment down below and we'll discuss that. But besides that, guys, leave a like, subscribe below if you haven't already as well, because what are you doing? I got you guys now with the daily fragrance content, and I'll see all of you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.